Thank you. Why is this happening? I'm Lynn Hinderrocker with WowBiz Nebraska. This is a short little blurb. I'm going to attack one of the toughest subjects in our society and our culture, and I'm happen to be in front of you right now as we have social chaos really all around us in every city in the country. People are reacting, of course, to the tragedy with George Floyd, but also all the incredible stuff that's happening, the protests, and they're out of control, and people are fed up. There's no way to work their way through it. They just want to hurt somebody, even though whoever they're hurting has nothing to do with the original incident. That's a really, really big piece of karma there. So I'm going to tell you what the core issue is right now and how to resolve that issue right now. So please give me your attention. It all comes down to how we define ourselves. And by the way, it's not black versus white, it's not Republican versus Democrat, it's not Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. It's not that at all, right? It really has to do with worldview, how we think of the universe and our place in it, right? And so it's so interesting because our country is a wonderful and incredible blend of two opposites. Now, the first opposite is an urban person. Of course, as you know, the last 50 to 60 years, urbanites have kind of dominated the evolution of society, but not completely. And by the way, there are a lot of exceptions to that rule. But we have urbanites who think about life differently than the rural sector, or we'll call them the natural sector. People that kind of depend more on Mother Nature for their living, and they're not in dense environments and so on. And they think about the world, how it should be, how things should be differently, right? So we take these two interesting words, urban and natural, and we put them together into one combination word that's never existed before. We have this very interesting word called urban natural. Now, if somebody said, wow, you know, Lynn, what's going on in America today? What do you think is happening, man? I would say we're an urban natural country. We're becoming urban natural. Two opposites are being brought together. And we're in the early stages of that, believe it or not. So we don't really know the power, the positive power in pulling opposites together. In the contrast, in the diversity. We're fighting it. We're fighting otherness. We're fighting ourselves, right? Because when we see somebody who doesn't look like us or act like us, and maybe they're behaving in a way that we don't think we would behave, we immediately become negative, defensive, and we cop an attitude, as they say, right? But in fact, at a higher level, the thought that should be going through our minds is, now there's somebody who could compliment me and make me even smarter, wiser, more capable, and so on, because the way they look at the world and the way I look at the world, one conversation or maybe many, we would both be much wiser, much more mature. Instead, we push each other away and threaten each other with violence and all that. But the fact of the matter is, if we can find a context to come together, we win big time, right? There's synergy. It's 1 + 1 = 3. Now, political commentators will tell you, oh, look at John F. Kennedy and a lot of the really great presidents. What they did was they defined us to ourselves. They explained to us who we were. And we said, yeah, we are that, right? And if the political candidates and all the people, the officials, the influencers and so on understood that we are urban natural and it's a good thing, not a bad thing, we say, yeah, I get that. I'm over here, but I could be even more, because in the end, of course, we all know this from an esoteric or a philosophical point of view, we are each other, right? We are each other, right? So And by the way, if we take 30 seconds, just about everybody will admit that. They will admit that, whether they rely on the East or the West or Christianity or Buddhism or whatever, wherever you come from, all of those belief systems ultimately say, we are each other, right? The urban natural piece is a wonderful example of how America is bringing two opposites together, or can do that. Obviously, we're not getting that done too much right now, but that's because we don't see ourselves. We're not looking in the mirror. We don't realize that strengths complement strengths. Instead, we're trying to say, well, you're bad, I'm good. That level of dualistic thinking takes us nowhere for obvious reasons. Thanks so much for listening to this little blurb, this little piece of wisdom. We are Urban Natural. This is Urban Natural America. Strive to bring opposites together and transcend contrast and duality. Move up to a higher level. Revel in it. Point it out. Be happy. It's there for us to discover and learn. Thanks so much. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you.